You're listening to On the Margins with me, Dan O'Sullivan.
And me, Eamon Stack-Mulvihill.
In this podcast, we will examine sites of education which are off the beaten track, non-traditional, non-typical, but diverse and exceptional, looking at learners who are often marginalised and ignored. Hello, we're delighted here today to have Sorcha Wharton-August. Sorcha is the Community Employment Supervisor and Manager of St. Mary's Adult Education Centre. Could you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the role?
Okay, so I actually was in retail for over 25 years, something that I actually really enjoyed. Then COVID hit. And unfortunately I got sick as well, so I had paralysis and stuff, and it took me a long time to get better, through the help of a lot of wonderful doctors and stuff. I was at the stage where I knew I wanted to go back to work, and I had a friend of mine actually sent me a poster on Facebook of marionette classes that were going to be happening in St. Mary's. And I thought this would be a good way to start getting back out again and use my hands, and I have a deep love of puppets, so I thought this would be great. And because I liked that Facebook page, the next day a job came up on community employment, and I spoke to my husband and said, do you think I'll be able to go back? You know, will I apply? It's part-time, you know, it'll get me out, get me back into the employment world, so to speak. And I did. And I remember having a panic attack on the bus the morning that I was going to start. I got an interview and I got the job, and then I was like, will I stay on the bus? Oh my God, this is big, going back after all this stuff. And I'm so glad I stayed on that bus, because that was September 2023, and the minute I walked in, I absolutely loved it. Everyone was so welcoming to me, and I was kind of thrown in at the deep end because the next day was registration day for all our classes. And I didn't know what was going on, but I just jumped in and it was fantastic. And I was lucky enough to be able to do a lot of things that I would have never thought I could do. I had a fantastic mentor in my boss, John O'Sullivan, who encouraged me to do loads and loads of things. He let me run with ideas. He let me do things that organise like stuff for the HSE, like Safe Talk, suicide awareness workshops, all these different kind of things, something that I'm very passionate about. And then in December last year, John got a new job, and I said, I'll throw my hat in the ring. Didn't think it, and now I am manager and CE supervisor. So it shows that community employment schemes do work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you were sick, there was wonderful doctors. Was there a wonderful husband as well? Or
There was a fantastic husband. He was the best, kindest, most wonderful person ever. I wouldn't be here without all his help, support, practical support. When you have to be carried down the stairs and fed and all that kind of stuff. But he was just wonderful. So obviously, big shout out to my lovely husband Dave.
And I'm recalling a joke or a mistake you made when you went to see. So Dave is from New Zealand.
I know where this is going.
And you were doing that thing that people often do when they go to a country where they speak another language. You try to pick up a bit of it. And how do you say hello in?
Well, I know now it's Kia.
It's Kia.
Yeah.
And what did you say to Dave's ma when you met her?
My body. But they were in on it and had let me say my body on the phone to them for over a year. So when I finally went there and put my hands up to all these beautiful Maori people and went, my waddy, they all just burst out laughing. I looked at Dave, I'm red now, but I was 10 times redder then. But yeah, that's oh, stop.
St. Mary's Adult Education Centre, so I suppose we're talking around Kings Island, the Island Field, that general area. Should you tell us a little bit about the background of the parish there? Or I don't know why whenever people talk about that area of the city, they always call it the parish.
They always call it the parish, yeah. Oh no, it's a fantastic area. It's got many facets to it. So you have obviously all around Nicholas Street and King John's Castle and all the beautiful history and culture there. You would have places like the Lee Estate, Assumpta Park, and then down into St Mary's Park as well. Beautiful community, but unfortunately at the moment, and it's not a nice thing that we have to say, is that St Mary's Park is the most deprived area in Ireland, unemployment wise, health wise, and it's a sorry thing because they're a fantastic community. So what we try and do in St Mary's Adult Education Centre is to try and not only do community education, which is very important for older people, for socialisation, isolation, all that kind of stuff to get in. It might be the one time a week they see somebody. The cup of tea is very important, the knitting classes, the craft classes. But we're also trying to work closely with the national school and the preschool to try and get parents in to back to education. So we are doing some level 5 courses, level 3 courses, and really aiming it at employability that is feasible for a lot of single parents especially. So that's what we're really kind of focusing on the moment, is both aspects of it, because they're both very important for the community.
So it's I suppose that general area of the city, whether we're calling it the island or just the parish, I suppose. It's more, I was going to say one of the most deprived, but possibly the most deprived.
The most deprived, If you go onto the public website, you can see.
So back up for a minute there. Marionettes. Is that a puppet?
Yes, you know the
Punch and Judy stuff.
Yeah. We actually had a marionette class. I know it's varied. Yeah.
And did you make a marionette?
No, because I got the job, so I never got the chance to go to the class.
I suppose on that, and to kind of build on the marionette, you mentioned a couple there, but from reading up on it, there's a whole host of, from, as you said, from 2 to 5 in terms of QQI level, but there's a whole host of services you offer. Do you mind kind of hitting off as many of those? I'd say the list could go on for ages. But
so because of where we are, unfortunately, we do have we have a room that's across, we call it the craft room, but it's across the yard, but you could come in privately. So there we would have one-to-one literacy courses, so they're very private. We would also have an ADAPT drop-in centre for...
That's like Adapt House.
Adapt House come in.
Domestic violence.
Yeah. So we would have that once a week, and they would make appointments completely confidential, completely private, like with the literacy as well. We would also have an IT service. So we do have 2 CE workers that are specialised in IT. So not only do they look after all our computers, but they would help people print off things or help them with their smartphone or problems like that, or they would also help them do up a CV for employment and stuff like that. We have, I'm trying to think now, there's so many of that stuff, there's so much stuff going on.
Scheme as well, that's
everyone in the building is on a CE scheme, apart from myself, which is wonderful. So we have like 23 different people, not all of them work in our building. We would have them dotted around in different places in the community as well. So like we would have litter pickers. We have 2 litter pickers that get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go out and pick litter all around our area to keep it clean, show a sense of pride. All that's given back to the community. We would also have somebody at Lunkard Boat Club. We have somebody in St Mary's Cathedral. We have people in the Limerick Island Community Partners. So we would have a lot of different people all spread around the whole Kings Island area.
And I suppose just for people, because there'll be people who are listening and they won't know what a community employment scheme is. Could you give us kind of a brief breakdown of what that is? Okay,
so a community employment scheme basically is, it's available to anybody that's been on social welfare for over 12 months through either normal social welfare or disability like myself. And it is 19 and a half hours a week you work, and you get paid your normal social welfare plus €20 extra on top of that. But the real gem of it is that it's a training and development programme. So you are entitled to and encouraged and have to do some training. So they will pay for courses for you. So I would have people at the moment in our own centre that are learning to be an SNA free. All that kind of, and it's really trying to upgrade and upskill, and they will pay for that, and they're very encouraging of that, and you can do it in work time as well. So it's a great way of either getting back into employment, or if you have been made redundant or something from a job that kind of no longer exists anymore, that you can upskill and go on to do something else.
Did you say they're only getting €20 extra on top of what they'd be getting on the dole?
Yeah.
So, and presumably they're doing nearly a full week, or
19 and a half hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're only getting an extra 20 quid. So
I know.
These are people who really want to learn, and they're
exactly.
motivated to, and they want to be working.
We want to be working. I think that's the whole thing. Like, there is a lot of people who go, why would I do that for 20 quid?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Why would I?
It's a packet of fags, really.
It's not even nowadays.
Yeah.
But like, why would I do that? Do you know? But so it is people that I think want to give back.
Yeah.
You know, older people as well that mightn't be able, because of ageism, really, if they got made redundant, they still want to give back to the community, and they're not allowed because, you know, and people want to work past 60 and stuff like that. And they do roll it over for people that are of a certain age, that they won't ask for extensions or, you know, more paperwork, whatever. They're like, these people want to give back, so we'll look after them. So on one side you can say, oh God, only €20. On the other side it is, well, you can do courses, you can get back to work, you can back to socialising. Especially after COVID, a lot of people were so isolated that this could be a way of them getting back into the workforce, getting back into training, and maybe upskilling for something else that they might have just gotten burnt out from, you know.
I suppose the payment is seen as quite small, extra for it, but it's there's a whole lot of other benefits to you as a person from that.
We interviewed, was it last week or the week before? You were in Italy last week.
Yes.
I haven't even asked you how you got on. We'll leave that to later. The week before we had John Roach, and he was the director of Engage in Education, which is a Limerick-based charity. And he was saying that they did a strategic review, and they thought that they should be starting with preschool kids.
Yes.
And now, due to funding restrictions, and they can't do everything, they do a lot of work with national school kids. But you're starting in the preschool, and I suppose there's an element of trying to forge links with parents.
Yes, very much so.
Will I just let you talk?
Yes, if you want. So we run this programme, the national school one we call Breadcrumbs, but we run a programme with the preschool as well. And basically what it is, we have a chef cookery teacher, and we have a baker who are paid for by their hours from the Educational Training Board. And they are very good to us with links up like that. So what we do is the baking, Liz, she's a fantastic baker. She will bring in the preschool children with a parent, and they do like cookies or whatever. And that's great, but it's really about engaging the parents into looking into our centre to see that there's stuff that they can do. Again, it's about bonding with the children, maths, all that kind of stuff, with measuring, you know, sharing, all that kind of stuff. And we do it with the national school as well, which has been a great success, and we call that Breadcrumbs, and hopefully we're going to be able to roll it out to other centres. And the Breadcrumbs initiative has been really good in the fact that parents that have never walked inside our door, young parents probably that had maybe a bad experience at school, didn't finish school, all that, and a lot of them would be single parents, have come, seen our centre, baked with the kids, loved it, got the feeling that it's friendly, it's not a scary place, and have joined our level 5 healthcare, which is one of our employability courses, because that's a job that you can work around hours and stuff like that. And they're doing really well, and they're flying it. And I have to say, out of all the courses that we do, I'm most proud of those girls for coming back and doing a level 5, and the pride that they had when they got their first certs. They're doing more modules now, but there's 5 or 6 of them doing it. They all have a little study group together, and it's something that I just think is wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful to see. And we also do a short barista course. Now, it's not accredited, but is teaching. We got funding from the LCTB as well for a barista machine, and our chef will do the theory behind it. It's only a 4-week course, show them everything. But again, that is employability to get a job in a coffee shop or something, that, again, flexible hours. And we're very lucky that the Limerick Ireland Community Partners have a coffee dock, and they will give people who want it a little bit of work experience. So they have all that on their CV. And even if they didn't get something from it, I think the confidence building is fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, and the healthcare support course is level 5, so for some of our listeners who won't know, so level 3 is supposed to be kind of junior cert level, and level 5 is kind of leaving cert level, but I suppose it has advantages over the leaving cert in that it's subject specific. When you do your leaving cert, you're not necessarily designated for any particular job, but with a level 5 cert you're kind of being directed towards a career in a certain area. So what type of jobs do people who do the healthcare support
a lot of it is carers, so you'd see, I had one myself, so home help, and those hours are very varied, so you can actually work them around dropping the kids off to school, or some of them would be the evening time, helping people get into their jammies and go to bed or whatever it is. So they're very flexible. So those kind of jobs would suit people in the area. Yeah.
So I suppose there's kind of a multiplier effect then, and actually it saves I hear carers save the government an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
So if there's money going into that and you're getting more carers, the economic argument is certainly made. But then I suppose there's a community aspect to that as well. You know, that you have people within the community looking after people within the community.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of firms that would try and hire people from the community, because there's that trust thing, you know, totally. And I personally think it's a great thing that people feel that they are given back, and it's a job, they're getting paid. But that trust element, and also if you're working in your own community, a lot of people wouldn't have cars or transport, that you can walk down the road, you know, all that kind of thing that actually makes it easier for people to seek employment and to know that it's something that would suit them.
And I suppose you mentioned the SNA as well, so I suppose that's people from the community going into the schools within their community as well. So that's kind of a formalised and certified kind of stuff. It's on the national framework of qualifications, if we want to be formal about it. But then, and I suppose that's maybe very much adult education, and it's there's a formalised structure to it. But then there's things like Safe Talk. So that's more kind of the role of, I know it's a dual role, but that's more kind of responding to a need within the community.
Yeah. When we don't have classes on, like, say, Easter time or that kind of thing, we try and do workshops. And that was kind of one of my first things that my boss, John O'Sullivan, let me kind of run with. Suicide prevention is something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
Jesus, positive. But yeah, I think it is a lot of things is bringing stuff to people, because people won't come to it. Yeah. So if you have something like the Safe Talk, and we also done self-harm awareness talk with the HSE, a lot of them are held in grey buildings out in Raheen or out here or whatever. People from the local community stay within their community, and it's very hard to get them to come out to do something like that on subjects like that. So if we have it in a safe, friendly environment up the road, you tend to if you bring it to them, not quote and field of dreams, they will come. But you know, if you get what I'm saying. So we try and do it for the community that way, looking at needs of the community, trying to find niches, trying to do that. It's lovely as well having your coffee mornings and all that kind of stuff, but they're the things I think that are very important, and to know that people feel safe doing it as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so maybe I suppose with people involved in adult education, they've often had a very negative initial impression of school, and it was a few weeks ago actually I saw an RT documentary called Leathered, and it was just describing like the beatings children got at school and stuff, and sure, wouldn't that put you off school for life?
Yeah.
And I was shocked to discover there was actually shops that sold nothing other than implements for torturing children, the leathers and canes and all this kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, you know, when someone has an initial experience of education like that, it can put them off education for life. And, you know, even if you tell them, if you met them socially that you're a teacher,
yeah, to put the fear of God in them.
Yeah. How do you break down that barrier? Is it through the coffee morning? Is it humanising the centre? Or
I think, humanising the centre, and just even, we're lucky in a way that because we're near, or we kind of share like a yard with the national school or the preschool, and then the national school will be next to us. It's just really about getting to know people and saying hello. I'm not an educator, you know, I'm no teacher, you know, knowing that just that kind of human interaction is good, and trying to get them in like with the breadcrumbs and stuff like that, to know that it's not a scary place, that it doesn't have to be about accredited stuff either.
Yeah.
You know, it's about maybe somebody having an hour or two to themselves where they switch off.
And when you say you're no teacher, I might argue the toss with that, because there's a lot of emphasis, especially here, and myself and Eamon are involved in teacher education, and we're talking about lesson plans and, you know, board work and all the rest of it. But there is a bit of it then that some teachers they think it's very important and it's a huge part of their work, and other teachers, they're not so comfortable with it, and, you know, neither is you know, better than the other one. But you certainly are fulfilling the pastoral care role. I mean, you're looking after your students, you're engaging with them, and that's as important as anything else that goes on in the classroom, I'd say. So sorry for arguing with you. So could you give us kind of the profile of the I wanted to ask you something else first, particularly in regards to literacy. Mm-hmm. A lot of the time when I'm talking to people who are involved with maybe NALA or people who are offering literacy support courses, the prompt is often their children.
Yes.
They want to get back to education because their kids are kind of maybe hitting 9 or 10. Mm-hmm. And being able to help them with the homework is becoming an issue, and
bedtime stories, or
so they're kind of doing it for the kids. Is that something that rings true with you, or
it does? Yeah, definitely. Like we have a library and stuff inside in our place, but we also would have kids' books and stuff because there could just be kids in and out, like, even though it's an adult education centre or whatever. And I have seen once or twice a kid go for a book and a man kind of going, oh, do you know. But as I said, they're completely confidential and private, so I wouldn't even know who is going in and out, but I just think it's a wonderful service to have. But I do get where you're coming from. I think a lot of it would be prompted from questions from your children. I even say in the own course I'm doing here in UL, that there is people there that are doing it for their children, because they want to show an example that if mum or dad can do it, so can you. So I think it is a very valid point, yeah. And
you've brought up your UL connection. You have a couple of UL connections. So we'll start. Did you start in September here?
Last September. So I'm in first year of the CWEL course, which is Community Wellness Empowerment, Life Skills and Leadership. If I can correct.
Excellent.
They'll be happy with me for remembering that. So I started that. It's a diploma in September, and it's really good. I really like enjoying it.
So I've heard of this because I was at the Traveller Education Change, and there was a lot of students from that were involved in writing the report. And this CWEL programme actually, there's a lady from Engage on it as well. She might be in your class now, she might be the year Vanessa, I'm thinking of.
Vanessa is, she graduated last year. Well, she had finished and she graduated last year. Yeah.
And so she's doing the second year for a master's maybe, is it?
Yes, yeah.
So it's a graduate diploma you're doing? I did the same thing in Mary I long ago, and you have a Mary I connection as well.
Yeah, I worked in Mary I for a while. Not on the educational thing, but just running the shop there. But it was a wonderful place to work actually. But then COVID hit, and
So
everything changed.
you've actually done a bit of a tour of the city's third level institutions
without having to study.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On that, I might just revert back to the courses that are offered and the programs that are offered.
Mm-hmm.
One that kind of caught my eye and interest when I was looking through them was you have a lot around eco solutions and sustainability and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking to me around the courses that you offer, I suppose information sessions maybe that you offer around that?
Yeah, there would be more information sessions around those things. So we'll be it's trying to teach people about kind of eco stuff without preaching to them.
Absolutely.
So, and to be honest with you, if you're coming from a place where there's a high unemployment, there's all that kind of stuff is not on your list of priorities. Do you know what I mean? So it's trying to get stuff done in a different way. So I actually just got funding there recently from the REACH fund for different bits and bobs that comes from the Educational Training Board, and some of it is for wellness kind of pamper sessions, but it's for hopefully mammies, maybe daddies from the school next door to come in, but it would be all done in an eco-friendly way. So they'd learn about like how the body tree will hopefully do it for us. They would be getting pampered, but they'd also be told how to do things without having to spend a lot of money on themselves and be able to do a bit of self-care and take time out, but to do it in an eco-friendly way.
Yes,
I know that sounds a bit kind of out there, but
sure, anything to get them in the door, right?
Anything to get them in the door, yeah.
That reminds me, actually, when I was in Youth Reach, we were supposed to kind of do parent-teacher meetings, but we found the parents didn't want to come in because I suppose they were used to going into school and the teacher telling them that their kids were terrible, and sure, who wants to come in and listen to that? But we had a hair and beauty program going, or as the lads was barbering, for the girls it was hair and beauty, for whatever reasons. But we, instead of having a parent-teacher meeting, we had parents pampering day.
Yeah.
So mum could come in and she'd get the hair and the nails done, and the son or daughter bring her a cup of tea and coffee. And then instead of saying, aren't they terrible, say, isn't he great?
Yeah, no, but that's a great idea, because I think things like that appeal to people more.
Yeah.
And as you said, they don't want to be told that their kids are bad, but also it's probably just for not even about the kids, it's them being scared of going back in. Like if you had a traumatic experience somewhere, the last thing you want to do is go back into a situation like that might bring that back, memories like that back up for you. So having those sort of pampering days, and that's the kind of idea that we were having behind those sessions, is to, self-care, a bit of wellness, because our wellness classes, we could fill them up about 20 times, coping with stress and wellness, all those kind of things. And then we would have kind of separate ones. They're personal development classes, but we don't call it that because that sounds too rigid. So we would call them Think Well, Be Well, or Your Best Self. And they would be nearly more closed in, but they would be organic, but working maybe only with 3 or 4 people on their personal development. The wellness ones, then you could have 20 people in the class, but it's more about meditation. It wouldn't be as heavy, so those kind of things work really well, and I think they need to be pushed.
Yes. I suppose on that, a question around I suppose there's a stigma there with a lot of wellness, mental health, and all that, and it's something that would be certainly in St. Mary's, but also across the country. Is it kind of a conscious thing that you always have to think about in terms of marketing that in a way that's more saleable, or how do you go about thinking and making sure that these wellness things are a success always? You would, as I said, the gentleman that does the Your Best Self, it's an actual personal development course, but if we called it that, we wouldn't get anybody in. So we do have to try and think of different ways of wording things. So sometimes you'd look at a class,
it's actually different to what we call it, but that's the way to bring people in to kind of, how would you say, soften it, really. And like Think Well, Be Well is actually, I can never say this, cognitive behavioural therapy. But no one's going to come in if they say that. That looks like they're going to be taught, do you know?
Yeah.
But if it's Think Well, Be Well, they will come and they will kind of... it's like kind of like watering it down to kind of soften it, as I said,
Yeah, and like I have difficulties pronouncing cognitive sometimes. And, I remember being in Mary and learning about Foucault, and I don't have a great grasp of French, and I was inside in class asking people about fuck alt. So
I just say CBT because
if you can't pronounce things, it's hard to say you're studying them. Could you tell us maybe a bit about some of the community partners you have in terms of employment or in terms of recruitment or anything else that springs to mind?
Yeah, so we're lucky in the Kings Island area. We have a lot of stakeholders, and at the moment all of us are working together. We're really trying to build on just coming together as one to help the community. So we'd work very closely with Limerick Ireland Community Partners, who they run the community centre. They have the Arms House. They do lots and lots of work, like counselling services. They would do lots of employability services with the Paul Partnership. So we would get referrals from them for different courses and stuff like that. We were lucky enough to get funding for free Safe Pass courses recently. So that's something that would be holding a lot of people back because they can't afford to get the Safe Pass. There's a lot of building work going on at the moment. If you can't afford, you can't get on the building site, catch-22. So we got funding for Safe Pass and manual handling, so we would have gotten a lot of referrals from LICP. Also the youth service, Limerick Youth Services up on Nicola Street, we would have gotten referrals from them. And we would try and work very closely with all those different partners to try and just come together as one. Like, as much as say there's a lot of positives as well, like there's a beautiful apiary up in Limerick Island Community Partners. There's even gone up there to buy your honey and do you know, stuff like that. Then there's the other side, but we have to... Is it much...
So they say, oh, should buy the honey that's local.
Because it's very local.
Yeah, because the bees are immune to all the coals going around.
I know. Yeah, it's like it's something to do with your immune system, isn't it? And
This is what I'm told. But is it much more expensive then buy a jar of honey from the apiary than it is from Centra?
Not much. No.
Not much.
No. And it's lovely. I don't even really like honey, but a little bit of it here and there is nice. But I buy it from my parents all the time.
And then the building you're in. What's the line from Sean's house? Ancient walls and broken treaty stone, or unbroken treaty stone. You're part of, I was going to say, you're almost part of King John's Castle, but the council have decided no, it's Castlán Limney.
Oh, stop. So we're kind of the other side, but we're behind the old Limerick walls. So there's a blue door. A lot of people, that sometimes people don't know what's behind it. That's like the magic door from Bosco, I call it. So people say, blue door, the magic door. And we share our yard.
Eamon doesn't know about Bosco.
Oh God. It's one of those things done now, wrong era. Oh no. Way to feel ancient. Like. That's it. Oh, you love him. And then in behind it used to be an old boys' school. Yes. And my father originally actually went to that school, and he came to a talk there on hearing awareness. He's nearly 80. He came to a talk on hearing awareness they had recently. He said, oh my God, I haven't stepped in these doors in 70 odd years, you know. But it's an old boys' school. The walls are as thick. But it's a lovely, friendly building. It really is. It's a joy to walk in there every day. And we hope that our learners and our volunteers and our staff feel that way too. If you didn't know it was there, once you open that blue door, it opens up a world. It's amazing. Yeah.
A lot of services going on in there. What would you say is the toughest challenge you face as community employment supervisor and manager? Because it's a dual role.
Well, yeah, it's all one. Sure, all the same. There's challenges every day. Every day is different, you know. Permanent TSB going down last week, trying to pay people's wages wasn't the best. You know, there's always going to be something.
Yeah.
And it's tough as well, because I suppose you're not talking about people who'd have a huge amount of savings. Like if that happened to me, I'd just nip to the credit union and that'd stick, you know.
Yeah, those kind of things. But there's always something different, and every day is different, and you're going to face challenges all the time, different bits and bobs. Funding would be a major challenge, just trying to get money, and
the strings attached,
and
the deadline, and the length of the form,
and the length of the form, and then looking for invoices for things that haven't even happened yet, and all that kind of stuff. Trying to word your funding that it actually suits you. You know, I know there's ways around saying things, but so that would be a major challenge, because a lot of the funding has been cut recently with everything. Even hours from the Educational Training Board, they've been cut because they didn't get funding, so you have to cut a class then because you don't have the hours. Trying to fill those hours up then. So I just go to Limerick Sports Partnership and stuff and try and get free classes off them. They're very good. HSE, Healthy Food Made Easy, free stuff to try and make sure that our schedule is always full, which it is usually anyway. So
I suppose the people you're working with, they're paid a training allowance, and but I was working in Youth Reach, the lads got a training allowance, and then people would sometimes say to me, "You're paying them to go to school, like you're supposed to go to school." And look, you're talking about people, some of the most disadvantaged people in the country, on one end. The other thing then is, what's the cost of not doing it? And if those services weren't there, and the people doing them are doing them for maybe an extra 20 quid a week, and just to see the benefit that gives to the community, like to have that taken away seems like a very it seems like a false economy on the part of the government or whoever's in charge of divvying out the funding, because it seems to me that the payback is a lot more than they're getting a lot more back than they're putting into it.
It's tenfold,
particularly with carers. I mean, you know. Then there's literacy, which can be an issue for a lot of people and keep them out of employment because they're afraid of their lives, that they're going to be found out and embarrassed. And I always say people who have issues with literacy are ninjas in covering it up.
I think it's people like that are so clever, because to me and you just sign your name or whatever, but it's thinking outside the box all the time. So it's I would imagine it's like looking over your shoulder all the time and being able to deal with that. And I have the utmost respect for people that come back and say, I need to learn to read or write. Like I had to learn to write again, but it wasn't my brain, it was just my hands. And that was hard. So I can't imagine coming to an age where you could be 50 years of age and covering it up for all that time, and the different means that you have. There's always going to be a form here or there, but getting people to do it for you, as you said, trying to help kids with their homework, and a lot of it would be generational as well, because it comes from grandparents down to parents. If they didn't do it or they didn't go to school or not really bother, then it's down to you. So I have the utmost respect for people that would go there and say, I need...
There must be a long-term impact as well of the stress of covering it up for so long.
Oh my God.
Looking over your shoulder all the time.
It must be... It's something I can't I couldn't comprehend, that we all have stresses in our lives, but that must be there always in the back of your mind, that someone's going to want something and you are not able to do it. And how do you get out of that situation? So...
And so that's literacy. That's one element of it. But there's a new demon in the room of late, and that's digital literacy. And I suppose sometimes that could be a blessing in disguise, because I suppose it's very embarrassing to say I'm going down to learn how to read. For some people they don't care. Fair play to them there. But I suppose there's less of a stigma in saying I'm going down to do a computer course. do you do much in terms of computers?
We do like a basic computer course, and then we do like spreadsheets, and we do a graphic design level 3, but we also do how to use your smartphone, and that is one of the biggest classes, because it's older people coming in going, I want to send pictures of my grandkids over to so-and-so and Australia, and not able. We also do, which was very popular actually before Christmas last year, hopefully be able to do it again, just a 3-week course actually in how to recognise scams and scams on your phone, especially with older people. The minute they see something, I must bring that back. No, do you know, and how to identify stuff. So the smartphone courses and stuff are always full.
When is the next smartphone course?
I could do it myself, I know, sometimes I what the hell.
I'll bring my mother-in-law, don't you?
Yeah. But no, do you know, they're the kind of things that you kind of go, what? And like, you know, like a smartphone course, and you're like, yeah, we also do a course on how to use your air fryer, you know? Yeah. But they're not aimed at just like air frying courses, they're nearly aimed at people that live alone, especially older people, and you're like, you could save money and you can just cook for yourself. This is how to use it, and they all love it, and we get our dinner.
But I suppose then, with the smartphone, like, it is so important. I mean, like, you can't go into a bank anymore. If you have children living abroad, being able to FaceTime them or whatever app you're using, but it's very important to keep, to kind of fight isolation.
Yes, completely and utterly.
And keep people involved in the community. And
gives a bit of independence as well, that they know that they're able to use it. It's not just waiting for somebody to ring them. They're like, oh, I'm able to use a WhatsApp, or whatever it may be.
Gives them massive freedom in terms of what they want to do.
And be able to maybe order something safely online, stuff like that.
Okay, where are we going now? So I suppose, being rooted in the community, you're removing a lot of the barriers to access for people, be that childcare, literacy, digital, or otherwise. What changes would you love to see about adult education or employment support? If you're the minister here now...
the minister here now, oh God, we ask him for money.
Don't say it bad now.
Don't say it bad now, no. The barriers, I think, there's one major thing that I always think, and I think that a lot of people haven't been listened to. And I think they feel left behind. And I think that can be very discouraging for people with confidence and stuff. And I do feel like a lot of people in marginalised areas, they want to be listened to. You might be able to help them, or the powers that be might be able to do anything about it. But if they know that their concerns or whatever were genuinely listened to, I think it can really break down a lot of barriers with the them and us, like kids, if you listen to a child, it'll stop,
Yeah, and you know what, we had with some kids from Engage here last week, and there was an issue there that was starting to creep in, and I was just kind of starting to feel it. When they go to Mary I and they go to TUS or LIT, there's a huge amount of funding here. And I said, you know what, I'm going to have to address it with them, because I was saying, look, we got money from Chuck Feeney, so every time you went on holidays and your mammy bought a bottle of something or a sleeve of cigarettes, we got some of the money from it. And it's not that this, that UL is posh or that we don't want people like you here. It's just that we got lucky with Chuck Feeney, I'm not putting the whole credit down to Chuck Feeney in case anyone important is listening, but is there anything exciting or new coming up for you, or anything you're excited about coming up, or are you kind of gearing down now for the summer?
Well, we'll be gearing down for the summer, but again, we will have workshops and different bits and bobs on, hopefully. Hoping to do have the HSC come and do some health checks for men in the area, because I think that's very important. People don't go to their GP, but they might be able to go just get their blood pressure checked, those kind of things. So we're always kind of searching for stuff, looking for stuff to do.
Let's say because there's a river there. The broad, majestic Shannon.
And 3 bridges,
Yeah, and let's say you live on the north side of the 3 bridges, but you're not particularly in a disadvantaged area. Let's say you're in O'Callaghan Strand or somewhere like that, and you will find business going there all your life, and you're reaching your twilight years. Are you still welcome to come down and do the smartphone course?
Of course you are,
Okay.
Our catchment area is all around there. We give priority to people from the area, but we have, and that would include Corbally and stuff. But we would have people from different parts of the city, and they're more than welcome to come down and do their art class, or now we do have waiting lists and stuff like that. So it just depends on where you are on the list as to the way it goes. But you're more than welcome. Our door is always open and the kettle is always on.
So I suppose we're kind of getting to the end here. So what I'm going to say to you is the work you do is absolutely invaluable. It provides such a benefit to the community, and every penny that goes into this type of thing, we get a social benefit from it. That's there's a multiplier effect in terms of the social benefits that come back from it. You're also kind of a little bit of glue, holding a community together, and a neglected community together. So on that, I'll just say thank you for everything you do, and we wish you all the best with it.
Thank you, and I'd just like to say thank you too, and I'd also like to say thank you to Helen Flanagan. She is the mentor of the whole place, and she started the place 22 years ago, and she's our chair of our board, and she's still working tirelessly. She's a powerhouse of a woman, so I'd like to thank her for giving us all the opportunity to help the community.
Okay.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Sorcha.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of On the Margins.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow and subscribe on all your usual platforms or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can also check us out on our website, aidonthemargins.com, for more info, content and upcoming events. See you soon.